Alright, story time. My voice is a little bit crackly because I just got off work. But I want to talk about something today. Another rocking and squeak video. I was going to talk about guitar players and this whole, kids are learning to play guitar. They got their first guitar, they're getting into Iron Maiden or classic rock or whatever. If it's classic rock, guys will be like, well, you gotta have a Les Paul. And if it's not a Gibson Les Paul, it's not a real guitar. Okay. On that. Now, this video may, in the comments, there may be some controversy with what I'm going to say here. But I own a Gibson Les Paul. A real one. And I've owned, over the years, plenty of knockoff Les Pauls, Epiphone Les Pauls. And a lot of those that I owned, they played and sounded equal to or better than my Gibson does. So, I don't see any valid point in that. You have to have a Gibson Les Paul if you're going to play classic rock. Nah, no. Okay, now, if you're going to play shred, you're going to play metal, 80s hair metal, or Satriani, Petrucci, Malmsteen, any of those high-class shredder dudes, and you go out and buy an Ibanez RG. Let's just call out a model here, and I'm not trying to discriminate against any Ibanez guitar because they're all amazing guitars. Let's say the common one now is the 470 that's made in Indonesia. You buy that guitar, you didn't buy a Prestige. What a piece of shit guitar you own. You call yourself a guitarist. All this snobbery, man. I've owned a slew of Indonesian Ibanez guitars that were great, perfect. 2 or 3 Chinese made ones that were 7 strings. And I sold them just because, got hard up for money at certain points in time. And even they were good. Now, are they Japan, like the Prestige that's here with me? No. You definitely can feel the difference, but if you're just getting into it and you're just learning how to play 80s hair metal or wanting to get into shred, you don't have to go out and spend $2,000, $1,400 to $2,000 on a Prestige Ibanez to be considered on your way and have a good guitar. This is the quality now, even though my Ibanez, my JS model that's in Indonesia, the red one, its quality was a little but for the most part, it's hit or miss with this stuff. You can go to Guitar Center right now or any music store, grab one off the wall, it could play great. Or it could have fret issues that need to be fixed. Or tuning instability because the tuners are a little weak, But for $400, you got yourself a pretty jam up guitar to learn on. I just think it's crazy. Because, people that say you didn't spend $2,000 on your guitar, you don't have a real guitar. That can bring a teenager that's just discovered, the love of music, the love of guitar, to where he doesn't even want to learn anymore. Because he wants to show someone that he looks up to. Here's my guitar I bought me, man. Check it out. Oh, that guitar is a piece of shit because it's not a $2,000 Prestige or a $2,000 Gibson. And then there's the Squier Strats. And, kids get them good Squier Strat. That's what I learned on for an electric. And I've known plenty of people out here that have learned on those. I cough after work, sorry. But, someone opens that case up. check out my black Squire Affinity. It looks like Eric Clapton. Looks like Eric Clapton's Blackie Strat. And some guy tells him, "Oh, that's not a real Fender. It's not a real Fender. You didn't pay $1,400 for a USA Fender Strat. That's not even a Strat. You couldn't even call that a Strat." Like, come on, man. And then there's, even the Mexican Fender Strats. They say Fender on the headstock, just like the USA. Now the hardware is a little different, and the body woods. The Mexicans are alder wood, and then the Americans are ash. That's really your only difference. You pull the electronics out of a Mexican Strat, and they say Fender on the back of the pickups. So, I mean, the only difference is the hardware is made a little bit cheaper because it's on the border of Texas and Mexico. And then the wood they use for the body. Everything else is the same. Then there's the truss rod hole. I think on the Mexican ones it's like a walnut. It's kind of a darker spot where you put the wrench in. And then the USA looks just like the neck looks. The fingerboard looks. But I've seen guys tell kids that too. You didn't pay $1,400 for a Fender Strat. Or you bought a Mexican Strat? Should have bought American, man. You know what? I don't buy into any of that crap. Like I said, I own a USA Gibson. And it's got an issue that I wish it didn't have, which is where the string gets caught under the fret. I don't like that crap. I've never had an Epiphone do that. Now, I've had a couple knockoffs that were pretty, they were pretty bad. But the Epiphones, they've stepped up their game quite well. Or so I've heard. Haven't really tried any of them out yet. But all this, you gotta spend a jackload of money for a good guitar. Nah, that's just not true. See, I have this Prestige here. I have with that Prestige was $1,400. My red Satriani was $1,800 after tax. Then my blue one is considered low end. It's the lowest end Joe Satriani that you can get. And it used to be the Ibanez JS 100, but then they sacked that model. They got rid of it, started making the 140. And the 140 has his little miniature humbucker in the neck and 24 frets and a different bridge. And it was $800, and that's considered low end for his models. And it's just as good as that red one. And then the Prestige, it is top of the line, and it has no flaws. But you can also get Indonesia guitars from Ibanez that have no flaws. It might take you, buy a couple here and there, and then you'll finally get one. The only country that I've ever had guitars made from that I've never had an issue, other than just Japan one here, this is my first one, but I've owned lots of Ibanez, Jackson, let's see, ESP, and Schecter that were all made in Korea. And there was never a problem with fretwork or, tuning, the tuners feeling cheap. Had great pickups in them, all that stuff. I had a Kirk Hammett LTD White Zombie made in Korea that had his active EMG 81, I think the 8160s? Yeah, 8160 with a Floyd Rose 1000 series trim on it and black ESP tuners. And, I got the chance one time to play a real KH2, the ESP model. And, you AB that guitar with that LTD I had, you can't tell a difference. The only difference is the bridge. It's the Floyd Rose 1000 on the Korean. That isn't really the original Floyd Rose. It looks like an original Floyd Rose, but the original Floyd that's on the KH2 ESP model is made in Germany by Schaller. That's the difference. The 1000 series is made in Korea, so it's a little bit cheaper, but still great. So let's go through Floyd Rose rankings here. This is just a little bit of extra tidbit of info. Top of the line, original Floyd Rose, made in Germany by Schaller. The next step down is the Floyd Rose 1000 series, made in Korea. And then the lowest tier that I've seen on ESP, this is for ESP guitars, is the Floyd Rose Special, made in China. And that trim, while still a good trim, is pot metal, pretty much. And I've had two KH202s. They both had that bridge on them. And they both had the same issue. You be playing it, hitting the bar, as long as you're diving it down, you're cool. You're cool, you know. You yank up on it like Satch or Steve Vai would do, and the low E string would just drop. I'm talking like 2 steps down from E. So, yeah, you know, there is a such thing as cheap made guitar. But does that mean they're all bad? No. Not at all. They're all great guitars. In the guitar world, you get what you pay for. That $800 Satriani I've got, it's a great guitar, but the trim isn't the best. And I just discovered tonight that one of my intonation screws from the factory is stripped out. I don't know how I'm going to get that thing out to adjust the intonation, which is off. And I'm scared to touch the others because they might strip. The bar that has the collar on the bar that goes over the screw, the threads, will not stay tight when you move it. If you tighten it down to get it to stay in place and you use it and then you spin it backwards, it'll loosen up and swing. And then there's the Prestige Ibanez, Japan made, top of the line, no issues whatsoever. Intonation's great, there's nothing stripped, there's no bad frets, none of that stuff. So yeah, there are such things as cheaper made guitars, but that does not mean they're all bad. Just because you don't play a USA Fender or you don't play a Gibson Les Paul that says Gibson on the headstock with a Les Paul signature and standard on the truss rod cover, or traditional or custom or classic, doesn't mean you don't play a good guitar and you don't play a real guitar. If you plug the thing in and it makes sound and you play on it, it's a real guitar. That's my thoughts on it. So everybody out there, play what you play every day. Don't let anybody tell you your guitar that you own is a crap guitar. Because as long as it's good enough for you, that's what matters. Everyone take care. Please like and subscribe if you feel the need. Peace.